I'm Karl Lidsle, analyst here at Sifter, and let me take a moment to tell you about our newest investment. Now, many of you might remember Sony as a struggling giant which brought us products like the Walkman music player and Cybershot digital cameras. While Sony does still sell consumer electronics, Sony's businesses have evolved immensely, and the Sony of today is a completely different beast than just 10 years ago. The Sony of today is sometimes grouped as one of Japan's big tech companies, and to give you a rough idea of the size, it has half of the annual revenue of Microsoft at $85 billion or 9 trillion yen. Sony Group is comprised of the following 6 business units. Today, I'll focus on these 3 units, which are, in our view, the most important businesses, as they are the strongest and growing the fastest. Needless to say, our analysis naturally covered the whole firm, and while the 3 other lines will not be covered today, they are well-performing businesses in their own fields. The 3 lines of interest are the console gaming business, the music business, and the semiconductor business. These 3 business units account for roughly 2/3 of Sony's profits today. And we think that their importance will continue to grow for Sony. So first up, the console gaming business, where the main product is of course the PlayStation gaming console and its network services. Generally speaking, there is but one path to succeed in the console gaming business today. Get a console in as many hands as possible. This is because virtually all of the profits for console manufacturers are through cuts on digital sales and subscription services, and most of these profits are on third-party intellectual property. So, Sony wants to put the console in as many hands as possible so that the game developers of the best-selling games and content will be made for the PlayStation, and Sony will then take a 30% cut of those revenues. It is a razor and blades business model. Right, so selling consoles is super important. This is the table for the top 10 selling consoles of all time. As can be seen, Sony's PlayStations have all sold well. Perhaps highlight-worthy is the PlayStation 3. The worst-selling PlayStation console. Now, what impresses me is that a lot of things went wrong with the PlayStation 3, but it's still the 7th best-selling console of all time. Now, it was released prior to the financial crisis, while at the same time being the most expensive inflation-adjusted console ever, and was notoriously difficult to develop games for. We think that the PlayStation 5 is very well positioned to become a success. It's well priced, and the game development studios have praised it for being the easiest console to make games for, which of course makes it more attractive for gamers. We further think that the PlayStation brand loyalty is strong, and PlayStation exclusive social interactions will make sure that PlayStation will be under the Christmas tree for many years to come. Next is Sony Music. Sony Music is the second largest of the big 3 companies, along with Warner and Universal, that control roughly 70% of the record label and music publishing industries. Let's take a quick look at Sony's Music's earnings model. It's not an exaggeration to say that Spotify revolutionized how we consume music. And the major music companies, like Sony, are large beneficiaries of that shift. As can be seen, for every 10 euros that we consumers pay Spotify or other streaming platforms, the label and publishing company, that is Sony Music, captures roughly 2/3 of that revenue. The fact that so much of the value from the rise in streaming is captured by the music companies makes their position very enviable. And naturally, there are many players who want a piece of this delicious pie. There are independent labels, for instance, who might have expertise in some niche music scene, and today there are more affordable and better tools to upload music yourself than ever. We believe, however, that the big 3 will continue to dominate this quickly growing market. The reason is simply that the large music companies are the gatekeepers of stardom. In short, you could say that the major record labels have the leverage and contacts to get an unknown artist on the playlist that people will listen to, and the resources to promote and create opportunities for the up-and-coming artists. As you can probably guess, the music streaming industry has grown rapidly during the last 10 years. Indeed, as we can see here, Sony's music streaming revenue and Spotify's revenue shown here in quarterly development since 2016 has grown hand in hand and at a fast pace. There are roughly 400 million paying subscribers of music streaming services today, and the consensus is that this will increase to over 1 billion by the end of the decade. Lastly, for today, we have Sony Image Sensing and Solutions. If you ever appreciated the rapid pace of development in your smartphone's camera, well, the credit is not Apple's to take. Sony designs and manufactures the image sensors, which are the digital eyes of your smartphone's camera. Sony's innovations in image sensors has leapfrogged us from taking grainy pictures on our old phones to high-quality pictures and videos even in low-light environments. In fact, Apple has used Sony's Exmor RS line of image sensors in its phones since at least the iPhone 4. Indeed, as we can see in this graph, Sony is the clear market leader with roughly half of the market share. While the number of smartphones produced has already seemingly hit a limit of roughly 1.5 billion units, we think there's still further room to grow in the image sensor industry. For one, the average number of image sensors in a smartphone is expected to increase, which is visible by the fact that your smartphone is getting more cameras on both the backside and the front side, and increasingly affordable phones are also incorporating more image sensors. Growth in the image sensor industry is also aided in the long term by sensing requirements in other areas such as advanced driving assistance systems and ultimately autonomous driving, factory automation, and surveillance. So to summarize, how does Sony fit the Sifter strategy of investing in high-quality companies? Well, generally, Sony has strong leadership positions in growing markets. These leadership positions are then protected by high entry barriers and competitive advantages. For instance, to succeed in the console gaming world, you need massive scale to attract game developers, who in turn attract a large player base, which is a self-reinforcing cycle. In music, Sony's superior ability to realize the full potential of its artists ensures that Spotify's top global list will be full of artists signed to Sony's labels. And lastly, in image sensing and solutions, the technological edge and expertise in manufacturing, well, coupled with the fact that the fabrication plants cost billions of dollars apiece, makes dethroning top spot a daunting task. We therefore see that Sony will enjoy the fruits of having strong, profitable businesses in growing markets, which we have quantified to mean a roughly 8% operating income CAGR over the next 5 years. Lastly, let's take a look at the share price evolution during its time in the Sifter portfolio. Sony has been in the portfolio since just the end of August. Still, it has performed favorably against the wider market, and we believe the company is still attractively valued on top of being a quality company. Thank you.